Hey, it's me, Bunny, and today we're with Holly. This is Holly. Hey, Holly.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about anxiety because a lot of people have anxiety, and I'm one of them, and Holly's another one that has anxiety. And so we're going to talk about, I'm going to get real close here. So, up close and personal, we're going to talk about anxiety and how anxiety feels to us. And so, how does anxiety feel to you?
Like an elephant on your chest.
Is that what it feels like pressure on your chest?
It does.
And what kind of things cause you to have anxiety?
Go from one extreme to the other. It could be anything as simple as having to go out in public or just being in a hurry or running behind.
If you run behind, causes you to have anxiety?
Yes.
Now, that's caused me to have anxiety before. When I start, it feels like stress. It feels like, oh, crap, I'm going to be late. And then I'm like, oh, gosh, What are they going to think about me? And what am I going to do? And I've learned to realize that it's not the end of the world. I'll get there when I get there. And that's taken a lot of work for me to realize, I'll get there when I get there. And I had a problem when I used to go to work. I would look at the clock like 15 times. I had Ignacio put a little clock he got at Walmart that I made him stick in my car so I could watch the clock as I went to work. And I thought one day, watching that clock is not getting me there any faster. I'm not driving any faster.
Exactly.
It's just making me more stressed as I'm getting to work.
More anxious.
And so I thought, I've got to get rid of this clock because once I leave the house, I'm going to get there when I get there. And just watching this clock is just making me feel more stressed.
Yeah,
and so I had to quit.
Totally.
And I thought I'll get there when I get there, and either I'll get there on time or I won't. And if I consistently don't get there on time, then I'm just going to have to start leaving earlier. And that helped me a little bit with that.
Yeah.
What other kind of things cause you anxiety?
Normal hiccups, going into Walmart, running into somebody and being questioned. What are you doing? How are you? What are you, what's your job? What are you married? Are you single?
So like judgment?
Yes.
You feel like they're going to judge you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's out there everywhere. I mean, you deal with it all the time, And I'm notorious for running around in my hoodies and my spandex and my hair in a ponytail and sometimes makeup, sometimes yesterday's makeup.
And that's a bad thing? You think that's a bad thing?
I don't know that it's a bad thing. Just society adheres to women in heels and suits and their hair fixed perfect and their makeup on. And again, I guess it goes back to judgment.
You just think they're going to judge you. Well, I can relate to that too because, I used to have some agoraphobia and I wouldn't go out. I wouldn't even go out in the house because I wanted to walk, and I thought people are going to see me walking and they're going to judge me. And at that time I had a really good therapist, and she said, people judge, that's what they do. And she said, like people at the mall that people watch, they judge, but she said, how does it affect you? And I'm like, well, I don't want them to judge me. And she goes, but what's the long-term effect? Those people don't know you. But I did. I had a particular neighbor that drove me crazy. She came to my house one day and she said, my husband can't watch you mow the yard anymore. And I thought, why is your husband watching me mow the yard anyway?
Exactly.
And because I had a riding lawnmower and my backyard was on a hill, and one day the riding lawnmower turned over and I was on it, and apparently it stressed him out. And she goes, yeah, that upset him that day. And I'm thinking, he shouldn't have been watching me. That's his problem if he's watching me mow the yard. But, for years I didn't go out in the backyard after that because I was so paranoid. But the problem was not with me. The problem was with the neighbor watching me.
I agree.
Actually.
I agree.
And I have to have the freedom to be able to live my life and to be happy in my life. And actually, the way I look at it now is, truthfully, if those people disappeared off the face of the earth, would it bother me? No. And if those people that you met in Walmart, actually you never saw them again, would it bother you?
No.
Yeah. And I remember sometimes I worry about people that I might have seen in high school, and I'm like, what are they going to think of me? Well, if I haven't seen them since I was in high school and I graduated in 1981, obviously their opinion is not that important to me. If I haven't seen them since 1981, how important could their opinion possibly be?
Makes good sense, without a doubt.
So I think maybe it's
Perception.
If we're able to
Changing
somehow
that,
change our
the
perspective,
perception.
yeah,
Yes.
on how we do that, it might help with the anxiety just a little bit, and just realize that you're doing the best that you can. I know that for years I wouldn't tell people what I did for a living, because in high school I told everybody I was going to be a surgeon. I wanted to be a surgeon, and all my friends wanted to be engineers, and my closest friend wanted to be an attorney. Well, she did become an attorney, and
Wonderful.
I believe all the other friends became engineers, different kinds of engineers. Mm-hmm. And I went to college, and I flunked out, and I got married and had kids, and I became a lab tech. And I thought, man, I didn't become a surgeon. All I did was become a lab tech. I have helped save lots and lots and lots of lives over the years, but when I think about it now, surgeons spend a lot of time studying, then they spend a lot of time working, and well, let's put it this way, they work a hell of a lot harder than I ever wanted to work. And I'm glad I didn't become a surgeon now. But I spent years not telling people and being ashamed of what I did, and there's nothing wrong with what I did for a living. And it provided a good income for me for lots of years. I mean, I've been a lab tech for 36 years, I guess. I mean, I've never not had a job. I've always had plenty of money. I was always able to provide for my kids, so there was no reason for me to be ashamed.
No,
like I said, it was all
not.
perspective.
Yeah, it's true. And hearing it from someone else, talking about it, something I don't do, something I don't just sit and have conversations, even with my best friends. It's just not something you talk through or talk out, and hearing someone else's perspective, vocally hearing it come out of someone else's mouth, how, you can switch things up like that. And it would have to become a practice, mindset. Change that mindset of, okay, who cares? Shouldn't matter. They don't pay my bills. They don't want my honey. So, yeah, I get that. There'll be a new outlook. There'll be something for me to work on, without a doubt. But I have fought with anxiety. I have it. At times it gets so bad that it literally feels as if someone's got their hands around my throat and cuts off my windpipe. I can't breathe. I pass out. They get extreme.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yep, I do.
Well, now there are medications that you can take for anxiety, but usually I think that the plan is that you take the medication and you see somebody while you work through it, so that at some point you don't need the assistance. You work on building the skills, like I'm talking about, the coping skills, so that you get to the point that you don't need the assistance with the medication, and hopefully one day you don't need the therapist. But I don't know. I still use the therapist.
I've done the therapist, and I've been a guinea pig for most of my life. I've ran into so many hiccups as far as allergic reactions or adverse effects.
To the medicines?
Yes, and you talk about traumatizing. As if that's not bad enough, they'll give you one thing that's supposed to calm you down, and you don't sleep for 3 days and want to tear the walls down in the house, and they give you something else, and next thing you know, you're at the ER. You're like, what are you on? Something a doctor gave me.
Yeah, I've had lots of side effects from medicines too.
It's discouraging. It is. And to even go in and talk to a doctor, to try to explain to someone who has met that goal and went to school and got that education and financially stable and don't have the average, ordinary, everyday anxiety things that go on, seems as if, and you're trying to explain this to them, and they look at you as if you're worthless, or you're a joke, or it's not that easy. It's not.
Well, I think
and
that
you get, oh, well, you're pretty. Well, I mean, that doesn't take the elephant off my chest and the hands around my throat. It doesn't make that go away. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. But looks to me are not everything. They are very superficial. And, not everything trimmed in gold is golden. It's, the inside. What's inside is what's really there.
I think that the world of psychiatric treatment is relatively new. I think they've only been working on it. I don't know. They used to just put people in asylums, and they used to think that it was hysteria, and it's a fairly new thing. Maybe 40 years they've been working on these problems, and maybe less than that on some of them, that they've even realized this is a thing, that they've even recognized that it's something that needs to be done.
Addressed.
I think that working on the chemicals in the brain, they still don't even know how some of the medications work.
I would agree. Sometimes it takes a lifetime to even get that information, and just beginning on it and addressing it. Everyone wants to put it to the side. Nobody really wants to talk about it. Who wants to come forward and say, I have issues of any kind? I don't care whether it's anxiety. I don't care if it's depression. I don't care what it is. Most people do not want to admit that they have something self-destructive inside that they're battling, along with trying to live a normal life in the face of all who judge. Easy.
And I think it's different too. I think if you have a broken arm, people can see it, they can accept it, they can understand it.
Yeah.
You have issues in your head, it's not something that people can see. They can understand it, and they can accept it as easily as they can when you've got a broken bone, or your liver shuts down, or you've got heart disease. Yeah. For some reason, those physical ailments are understood and accepted more easily than mental health issues. And I hope that one day it's different. Because if not, this world's going to be a very difficult place to live in, because I think that the issues of mental health are very widespread and need to be addressed.
I think they are. I think they're across the board, and I don't think it's just women. I think it's also men. And in men, I feel compassion there, because men are supposed to be men. You're not supposed to be emotional. You're not. You're supposed to be tough, and when you suppress that, eventually it will come out. And I think my biggest thing was facing everything alone and trying to maintain. My body was just like, you're not supposed to do all this by yourself. You got to stop, and it found a way to stop me. It sure did. It found a way to stop me in my tracks. I have come up against many obstacles in my life, but I never thought that battling the inner me could win over everything else that I had handled on the outside. But it did, and it was literally basically saying, hey, you got to chill out. You're gonna stroke out if you don't. And to pass out, you come to, it's an emotional whirlwind. It's scary, it's traumatizing. The tears fly. It's not an easy thing. It's not even an easy thing to talk about. But again. It's bad enough that you have to face the outer demons, but fighting your inside demons can be pretty crazy.
It's a lot of hard work. And then you have to change your whole mindset and your whole way of dealing with things, the whole way you look at things, the whole way you think about things. It's rewiring the whole system inside, and that takes a lot of time, a lot of work, a lot of effort to do that. It does. It takes a lot of time and effort to rework that, or you end up coming right back to square one again.
It does. And sometimes you do. Sometimes you have to back up and punt all over again. I've done it many, many times. I'll continue to do it. One of these days I'll get it right. If I don't, I'll just keep going.
We're going to run out of time on this one. We're going to have to do a second section, so we're going to cut out for now. So bye, everybody.
Bye.